Hey, hey, welcome back. On my way home and the sun is shining bright. Kind of glad for that, but regretting the fact that I left my sunglasses at home today. But that's not what you're here to talk about, so let's dive into what you are here to talk about, which is how would I spend $1 million? And I think this is a super interesting question because it really tells about your financial literacy. And I want to take it in a completely different direction than most people. I want to answer this question as if I would have answered it at different stages in my life. So when I was 18 and when I was first married at 21 and now today when I'm 32. So I'm going to kind of analyze my money personality at those stages in my life, explain how I would have spent $1 million at that point, and then I want to speculate how it would have affected my future. Let's get right into it because I'm kind of excited to do a little self-discovery. I haven't really prepped for this at all. When I was 18, I was just starting college. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I thought that I could have done anything, but I really like to read. So I entered college to get a degree, actually in linguistics at first, and then switched it to English literature. What was my money personality like back then? Well, I've always been a saver, and it's been very easy for me to save money. I've always been working as far as my adult life is concerned. I think I started working when I was 16, and I've been working ever since. So at that point in my life, I can't remember exactly what job I had. I know I worked at Steak and Shake at some point. I know I had worked at a couple of the places at college, the food eateries and things like that. at those times, and I was earning money all throughout my college career. So I had some savings because I had very little expenses. Obviously, I had taken out student loans. If you've seen my other videos, boy, did I take out student loans. And I was just getting through my education as best as I could. But my natural way of living was to be frugal. And my natural way of saving was to save a lot. And I would save up a lot, and then I would spend it. And then I would save up a lot, and then I would spend it. And I would save up a lot, and then I would spend it. And you see the pattern here. So if I was to take on $1 million back then, what would I have done? Well, I would have continued working, I think, because that's just ingrained in me, that hard work is part of my life. I enjoy hard work. I actually enjoy physical labor, probably because I don't have to do it every day. I'm sure the people who do have to do physical labor would have some more complaints than I have about it. And I would take that $1 million if I was me back then, and I would probably have blown it on something big, right? I don't know what, because I wasn't interested in a house at that time. I had a boyfriend. I didn't know where I would go or what I would do. I probably would have traveled, actually, because I really love to travel. So I probably would have traveled a lot. I would have saved it up and done a lot of traveling. But I didn't know a lot about finances at the time, so I probably would have spent it all in a very short amount of time. I would have traveled in high style and taken my friends with me and my family with me, and we would have seen the world. And then I would have come back to a life that was completely the same as it had been before that $1 million. And that's it. Very short history of $1 million right there. So let's fast forward a little bit to when I was 21. A couple years later, I was in a very serious relationship. We were getting married that year. As a young newlywed couple, we were very broke. We were both in very low-paying jobs, starter jobs, not corporate ones, and we both were trying to decide what we wanted to do with our lives. My husband had been in and out of colleges for several things, and none of them really stuck for him. As I said, I was finishing my degree, so I was in college, but I was going part-time so that I could also work part-time. And, doing anything part-time without focus doesn't result in a lot of progress. So, we weren't making a lot of money, and I was taking longer than expected to finish my degree. And when we got married, my husband was in college for food service, to be a chef, because that's what he wanted to be, and that's what he is today. So he was doing his degree, I was doing my degree, and we were both working, and we were both exhausted, and we were both tired and didn't get to see each other a lot. So at that point in my life, what would I have done with $1 million? Well, I would have spent a little on our wedding. Looking back now, I actually would say I would have been happy to elope, but I probably wouldn't have eloped because my husband's an only child, and you only get that wedding experience for your kids once. So for us and for my in-laws, I would have paid for the wedding and all the expenses there. I would have paid for us to live somewhere different. We started out in a very small apartment, and while it was just what we needed at the time, at the price we needed at the time, and was very nice for the price we paid for it, I would have found us a house to buy, flat out. No debt whatsoever. I would have, at that point, paid off the student loans that we had and continued to pay for colleges with money instead of with loans. And probably that would have eaten it all up at that point. But also, I didn't have any financial education about at that time either. I had leaned a little bit on Dave Ramsey when we got into some trouble a couple years later, but at that time I had no idea. We were just broke and we were scraping by, and our parents and our in-laws paid for a lot of the stuff we did, and if we went out to eat, we went out with them and they paid for it, and we were so lucky in that respect. But we had no idea what we were doing with our money. We were just trying to survive college, to be honest. So I would not have planned for the future in that respect. I would have just spent it. Again, I would have spent it and it would have been short-lived. This time it would have been on something a little more useful to me, less fun, but more useful in that time in my life to set us up for a better future. But it would not have been a very long-lived $1 million. So let's forward to today. I'm 32, just turned 32 this month, and what would I do with $1 million today? And this is the one that gets me, because my answer today is vastly different than those other times in my life. Today, what I would do with $1 million is not spend it. It's not save it. It's invest it. And what I mean by invest it is to look within myself and find the things that I am comfortable and know a lot about and that I enjoy, and invest it there. That might be buying a rental house for me because I really enjoy real estate. That might be investing it in our business. It would be investing it in our business because I believe that to be a thing that will bring us happiness and success, and that would make me happy too. I would invest it in our home and our family and experiences with them. And I know that's a little more like spending, but I'm okay with that. But really what I would do is set us up with cash flow, because to me the most important thing is cash flow. So I would invest in items and assets. Assets are things that you buy that increase your cash flow every month, that bring money into your pocket every month. And rental houses do this. Investing in the stock market can do this. There are others out there, and I'm not real invested in them because I don't know a lot about them, but those are the big ones that people think of when they think of investing, is stock market and rental houses. And then there's, investing in businesses, which takes a little more of your sweat equity if you're involved in the production of that business. But you could also just buy a business that cash flows. So that's what I would do. I would spend the entirety of that $1 million on investments. And then, which seems a little unconventional, I know, right? Why would I not get rid of my student loans? Why would I not pay off my house? Why would I not do a lot of those other things? Well, here's why. Because cash flow is king. Robert Kiyosaki teaches this in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I don't subscribe to all of his thoughts on money. A lot of them I think are really solid ideas, but personal finance is just that, personal. And I have to do what would be best for me. And what would be best for me and my money personality is to invest in all of those items, build up my cash flow so that my cash flow has a structure to it. And what I mean by that is when cash comes in, the money automatically flows to 3 different places. And those 3 places are 10% to savings, 15% to investments, and 75% to spending. I got that cash flow structure from Minority Mindset channel, a channel I follow that is really good at explaining, especially to visual learners, about financial education. So go check them out if you're interested. If you're a visual learner like me, you're going to love it. And that's where I got that structure from. And it has worked for me since I implemented it. We've done this for the past, 3 to 5 months now. And it has worked out really well. So that means that whatever we spend in our life is 75% of what income we receive throughout the month. 10% of each paycheck goes into our savings, or 15% of each paycheck is going into investments, which is right now saving up to invest in our business. And then the 75% we can spend however we like. And for a saver like me, what that means is that you get permission to spend, because I'm a frugal type of person, and I would drive 5 miles just to save 10 cents a gallon on gas. That's the type of personality that I am. But instead of being a miser, I like to take my personality and money and sort of shift it into planning, because that's what I'm good at. And instead of driving that 10 miles or 30 miles to save 10 cents on the gallon, I plan and I perfect and I make my systems that I'm using more efficient, like the structures. Those structures are so important because consistency is what makes people wealthy. When you invest consistently, that's what builds your wealth. When you save consistently, that's what builds your emergency fund. If you're just doing a spot here and a spot there and you've got no consistency at all, you're never going to make it. I've learned that the hard way because I had no idea at 18 what I wanted to do with my life. And if I had just picked something, I would have been miles ahead of where I am now. But hindsight is 20/20, right? So yeah, that's how I would spend $1 million today, is solely on assets that cash flow to me. And those cash flowing, with the money that cash flowed, I would save, invest, and spend. And with the money that cash flows from there, I would also gift. That's a part of my 75%, once my income's up, part of my 75% of living expenses, I wouldn't need that much money to live on, because I'm a frugal person by nature. So we would travel, we would set up the life we want, we would give to people. I would love to give to my parents to help pay off their bills. I would like to give to my in-laws because they've all given so much to us. They help us every single day. Another thing that I would do is, with that cash flow, is buy back my time. So I would really analyze the things in my life that I enjoy doing and the things that I don't enjoy doing. What things do I think, oh my God, I cannot believe I have to do this again? Which is dishes to me. So house cleaning and laundry, those types of things, I don't enjoy them, and they suck my time away. My time, in my opinion, could be better spent on doing what I'm good at to make money. So that's what I would do. But it's hard to do that when you have to spend your time cleaning. You can't live in a pigsty. When you have to spend your time in all these different places, it's really hard to hone down on making money with your time. And you have to, that's where the word hustle comes in, right? Because you have to hustle to do both until you get that cash flow up. Well, if I build my cash flow with that $1 million that's fictional, then I don't have to hustle. I just can build the cash flow and then live the life that I want, which would be so amazing. I envision a life where I don't have to get up at a certain time to work every day. I could take my dogs out and enjoy nature. I could do the gardening that I love to do. I could maybe get a job in gardening. I don't know, because I like to do it in my space and other people's spaces, to have new challenges and new experiences. I would travel with my family. I would create experiences with my family that we don't do very often. I would maybe buy back some of our time that we spend planning and stuff for our business by hiring people to do those sorts of things. And we would get that off the ground a lot quicker. So anyway, that's what I would do with $1 million back when I was 18, when I was 21 and getting married, and then today as I'm 32 and am a little more financially educated. I want to know in the comments below, how would you spend $1 million today? Would you buy off your debt first? Would you just go ahead and spend it? I'm going to tell you that there's no wrong answer. Even if you think there's a wrong answer on this channel, there's no wrong answer, because I recognize that every single person is different. Every single person has different priorities, and if your priorities are to go and travel the world, then you go travel the world. You do you. And that's how I would do me. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so that it can be sent to other individuals interested in building wealth and kind of those dreamers that speculate like me on what they would do with $1 million, because I think it's fun to dream. And I also think it's pretty important to dream because it gives you a purpose and a vision and something to work toward. All right, so that's it. That's all for today. I am almost home, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.